There's a test I use with people and it's uncomfortable. I ask them, if you disappeared for 3 days without warning, how many people would panic because they genuinely miss you? And how many would panic because now they have to do something themselves? The silence that follows tells me everything. Because here's the truth. If people only reach out when they need something, you're not in their life. You're in their contacts under problem solver. And the saddest part? You probably don't even charge a consultation fee. Today we're talking about why being everyone's unpaid emotional ATM is bankrupting your soul. Now listen, I know why you clicked on this video. You're exhausted. You're tired of being the person everyone calls when they need something but nobody calls just to check on. You're tired of feeling like a vending machine. Push the right button, get what you need, walk away. And somewhere deep inside, you've started to resent the very people you're trying to help. And that resentment? It's eating you alive. Because you were taught that good people don't say no. Good people are always available. Good people sacrifice themselves on the altar of everyone else's convenience. But here's what nobody told you. That's not goodness. That's self-destruction dressed up in noble clothing. So let me tell you why you need to hear this today. You've been told that saying no makes you selfish, that boundaries push people away, that if you're not constantly available, you'll end up alone. That's the lie that's destroying you. This video isn't about self-care tips or recycled advice about putting yourself first. This is about understanding the single most dangerous belief you're carrying, that your worth is earned through depletion, that love is proven through exhaustion, that if you're not useful, you're not lovable. Here's the reframe that changes everything. The people who truly love you don't want you running on empty. They want you full. The ones who disappear when you set a boundary? They were never there for you. They were there for what you could do for them. By the end of this video, you'll understand why your availability has been your prison, how to recognize the difference between healthy giving and self-abandonment, and exactly what to say when someone tries to guilt you back into servitude. You'll learn that saying no isn't cruelty, it's clarity, and that the right people won't punish you for having limits. They'll respect you more for having them. This is about getting your life back. So let me tell you a story. I want to tell you about someone I knew who lived in a house with no locks. Not metaphorically, literally. She never locked her doors. And for years she told herself it was because she trusted her neighborhood, because she had nothing worth stealing, because she liked being open. She'd say things like, I don't want to live in fear, or I like that people feel comfortable around me. And on the surface, it sounded evolved, spiritual even, like she was operating on some higher plane of trust and community. But here's what actually happened. People started walking in, not breaking in, just walking in. It started small. A neighbor would come by to borrow sugar and just let themselves in through the back door. Then her cousin started storing boxes in her garage without asking. Just showed up one day with a U-Haul, said, I knew you wouldn't mind, and filled up half her space. Someone's teenager discovered she had good Wi-Fi and started coming over after school, eating her food, leaving dishes in the sink. And every single time she felt that spike of violation, that gut feeling of, this isn't right, she'd swallow it. She'd tell herself, I'm being paranoid. They probably need it more than me. It's not a big deal. I don't want to be one of those people who makes everything about boundaries and rules. She convinced herself that her discomfort was her problem, not theirs. That if she was truly evolved, truly kind, truly open, she wouldn't feel bothered by this. So she ignored every alarm bell her body was ringing. She ignored the exhaustion. She ignored coming home to find her space rearranged by other people's needs. She ignored the growing resentment that was building inside her like a pressure cooker. Until one day, and I'll never forget when she told me this, she came home and found a complete stranger sleeping on her couch. Not someone she knew. Not a friend of a friend. A stranger. Someone who'd heard from someone who'd heard from someone that her house was always open and they needed a place to crash, so they just walked in and made themselves at home. That's when she finally installed locks. Not because she became mean or untrusting, but because she realized something absolutely devastating. Her openness had attracted people who confused access with invitation. And she had been so afraid of seeming unwelcoming that she'd welcomed her own destruction. She'd been so terrified of being called selfish that she'd given herself away piece by piece until there was almost nothing left. Now I'm telling you this because most of us are living in that unlocked house right now. We've made ourselves so available that people have stopped asking permission to take from us. They just take your time, your emotional labor, your attention, your peace. And here's the thing that makes it so insidious. Most of the time, they don't even realize they're doing it. Because you've trained them. You've taught them that your door is always open, that your phone is always on, that your energy is always available. You've been such a convincing actor in the role of, I'm always fine, I'm always here for you, that they've actually started to believe it. And the worst part, you don't even blame them anymore. You blame yourself for being resentful. You lie awake at 3 in the morning angry at yourself for feeling angry. You think, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just be happy to help? Why do I feel so drained when I should feel fulfilled? And that self-blame, that internal war, that's what's killing you. Because you're fighting against your own survival instinct. Your body is screaming, this is too much, and your mind is saying, but you should be able to handle this. But here's what nobody tells you about boundaries. They're not walls to keep people out. They're locks that let you decide who gets in. And when you install them, yes, some people will get angry. The ones who were benefiting from unlimited access will call you selfish. They'll say you've changed, that you're not who you used to be. They'll hit you with lines like, I thought I could count on you, or you used to be so generous, what happened? And in those moments, you're going to be so tempted to take the locks back off, to apologize, to prove you're still the same person. But here's what I need you to understand. When someone gets angry at your boundary, they're not upset because you're being unreasonable. They're upset because the arrangement that was working perfectly for them has changed. And you'll look at them, maybe not out loud at first, maybe just in your own heart, and you'll say, you're right, I used to be available to everyone. Now I'm available to myself too. But why is saying no so terrifying? Why does it feel like we're committing some moral crime when we simply can't do something? Let me tell you the second story, and this one might hit even harder. Imagine you're on a plane. Turbulence hits, oxygen masks drop. You've heard the speech 1,000 times, right? Put your mask on first before helping others. And everyone nods along because it makes logical sense. Of course. If you pass out, you can't help anyone. We get it. But let me ask you something that nobody asks. What if there are no others? What if you're not on a plane in crisis? You're just living a regular Tuesday and people are still asking you to give them your oxygen? Not because they're dying. Not because it's an actual emergency. Just because you've always shared your air before, so why stop now? Here's the truth they don't tell you in those safety demonstrations. Some people have learned to breathe your air instead of their own. They've figured out that it's easier to pull from your tank than to maintain their own. And when you finally put your mask on and say, I need this to survive, they'll act like you're suffocating them on purpose. They'll make you feel like you're being cruel, like you're abandoning them, like you're breaking some sacred promise you didn't even know you made. I want you to do something with me right now. I want you to imagine your future self 3 years from now. Close your eyes if you need to, but really see this. In one version, you kept saying yes. You kept answering every text immediately, helping with every favor, managing everyone's emotions like it was your part-time job you never get paid for. You're there at every beck and call. You're the reliable one, the one who never lets anyone down. And you're exhausted. Not just tired, bone deep, soul-level exhausted. You're resentful of the very people you love. You're invisible to yourself. You can't remember the last time you did something just because you wanted to, not because someone needed you to. You look in the mirror and you don't even recognize the person staring back. That person's eyes are empty. That person is surviving, not living. Now imagine the other version. In this one, you learn to say no without explaining, without apologizing, without negotiating your worth. You started small, maybe just one, I can't do that felt like jumping off a cliff. And then another, and then another. And yes, some people got angry, some people left. But you know what? You're lighter. The air feels different in your lungs. You have energy for things that matter to you. The people around you are different. Some relationships fell away, but the ones who stayed, they love you for you, not for what you do for them. They actually ask how you are and wait for a real answer. They respect your time because you've shown them it's valuable. You look in the mirror and you recognize yourself. You're not perfect, but you're present. You're not boundaryless, you're free. Which version of you do you want to become? Because I'm going to tell you something that might sting a little bit. You're choosing one of these futures right now. Every time you say yes when your whole body is screaming no, you're voting for the first version. Every time you let someone interrupt your peace because you're afraid of seeming difficult, you're building that exhausted future. And I know that feels harsh, but I'm not here to make you feel comfortable. I'm here to wake you up before you lose yourself completely. Because here's what I've learned after decades of watching people reclaim their lives, after sitting with thousands of people who've hit rock bottom from giving too much. The people who get angry at your boundaries are the ones who benefited from you having none. Read that again. Let it sink all the way in. Their anger? That's not proof you did something wrong. It's proof you did something new. It's proof that the dynamic has shifted and they're no longer getting unlimited access to your energy. And yes, that's uncomfortable for them. But their discomfort is not your responsibility to fix. Let me break down some core truths for you, because I think we need to get really clear on what's actually happening here. Truth number 1. Availability is not love. If someone only values you when you're useful, they don't love you. They love the service you provide. And I know that's hard to hear. I know you want to believe that all these people care about you, but real relationships survive your no. Real love doesn't evaporate the moment you can't show up the way someone wants. The person who truly cares about you will hear, "I can't do that right now," and respond with, "Okay, no problem, take care of yourself." The person who's using you will hear the same words and come back with guilt, manipulation, or the silent treatment. Truth number 2. Guilt is not your compass. This is huge. Feeling guilty when you set a boundary doesn't mean the boundary is wrong. It means you've been conditioned to believe your needs are less important than everyone else's. It means you've been programmed by family, by culture, by every message you've absorbed since childhood, that good people don't have limits. But guilt is old programming. It's not truth. Guilt is the voice of every person who benefited from you being boundaryless. It's not your intuition, it's your conditioning. And you can thank it for trying to protect you from rejection and then do the healthy thing anyway. Truth number 3. Saying no to them is saying yes to you. Every single time you say yes when you mean no, you're betraying yourself. You're teaching yourself that everyone else matters more. You're sending a message to your own soul that says your needs don't count, your exhaustion doesn't matter, your peace is negotiable. And after years of this, you wonder why you feel so disconnected from yourself. It's because you've been abandoning yourself over and over to please people who wouldn't do the same for you. Stop abandoning yourself. Start showing up for you the way you show up for everyone else. Truth number 4. The right people won't punish your limits. Healthy people respect boundaries. Toxic people are offended by them. That's how you know the difference. If someone guilts you, manipulates you, or threatens to leave because you can't meet their demands 24/7, that's not love leaving. That's control revealing itself. And I know that's terrifying because maybe that person is family. Maybe it's someone you've known forever. Maybe it's someone you desperately want to keep in your life. But I need you to hear this. A relationship that requires you to have no boundaries is not a relationship. It's imprisonment with a pretty name. Here's the paradox that nobody talks about. You've been afraid that boundaries will leave you alone. You've been terrified that if you start saying no, everyone will abandon you and you'll end up isolated and lonely. But people-pleasing is the loneliest thing you can do, because you're surrounded by people who don't actually know you. They only know the version of you that never says no. They only know the person who's always available, always accommodating, always fine. The real you, the one who's tired, who has needs, who can't do everything, that person is invisible. And that's the deepest loneliness there is, being surrounded by people and still feeling completely unseen. So let me give you some practical steps, because I don't want you to leave here inspired but paralyzed. I want you to actually do something different starting today. Step 1. Practice the pause. When someone asks something of you, don't answer immediately. I know your instinct is to say yes before they even finish the sentence. I know you're afraid that if you hesitate, you'll seem difficult or unhelpful. But you need to buy yourself time to check in with your actual truth. So say this: Let me check my schedule and get back to you. That's it. Simple, non-confrontational. And it gives you the space to ask yourself the most important question. Do I actually want to do this? Or am I just afraid of disappointing them? Step 2. Use the no explanation, no. This is where most people sabotage themselves. They think if they just explain enough, if they give a good enough reason, the other person will understand, and there won't be any conflict. But here's what actually happens. The moment you over-explain, people hear negotiation. They think your no is a maybe. They start problem-solving around your reasons. Oh, you're busy that day? What about this day? Oh, you're tired? Just come for an hour. No. Your no is a complete sentence. I can't do that. Full stop. No justification, no apology tour, just simple, clear, done. Step 3. Identify your energy vampires. I want you to take out a piece of paper right now, or open your notes app, and write down the names of people who only contact you when they need something. Not to punish them, not to be mean, but to wake yourself up to the pattern. Because I guarantee once you see it written down, you'll be shocked. You'll realize that certain relationships have been completely one-sided for years, and you've just been accepting it as normal. Step 4. Protect your peak hours. Choose 1 hour every single day where you are unavailable. I don't care what's happening. Phone off, door locked. No emergencies unless someone's literally bleeding. This is your hour. Maybe it's first thing in the morning. Maybe it's during lunch. Maybe it's before bed. But you reclaim 1 hour of your life like it's sacred, because it is. This is you telling yourself, I matter. My rest matters. My peace matters. Step 5. Reframe the guilt. When that guilty feeling shows up, and it will, don't fight it. Don't try to push it away. Just notice it and say this out loud. I'm not responsible for managing everyone's emotions. I'm responsible for my own survival. Say it until it sinks in. Say it until it stops feeling like a lie and starts feeling like truth. So here we are. You came into this video exhausted, maybe resentful, maybe wondering why being kind always seems to hurt so much. And now you know, you're not broken. You've just been misled. You were taught that love means constant availability, that goodness means self-sacrifice, that boundaries make you bad. But none of that is true. The truth is simpler and so much harder. The people who deserve you will still be there when you're not endlessly useful. Your mantra from today forward, the thing I want you to say to yourself every single morning is this. I am allowed to protect my peace. My rest is not selfish. My no is not cruelty. I am not a resource to be mined. I am a person to be respected. Say it until it feels less like rebellion and more like breath. Say it until you believe it in your bones. If this landed for you, if something shifted while you were listening, if you felt seen in a way you haven't felt in a long time, leave me a comment. Tell me the one thing you're going to stop saying yes to. Or just tell me you're tired. I'll read it. I see you. And if you want more truth like this, more conversations that actually matter, hit that subscribe button. Not because I need the numbers, but because you might need the reminders. Because this work of reclaiming yourself, it's not a one-time thing. It's daily. And sometimes you need someone in your ear reminding you that you're not selfish for having limits. You're human. Now go install some locks,